Well, you want your hostages? Give us our terrorists. That is the deal Islamic militants are making with America. Of course, fat chance that's going to happen, but the more brazen these terrorists are getting, the more frequent the calls for America's military to start intervening. Should it? Ron Paul, the former Republican congressman, presidential candidate, says no, be careful, be very careful. Congressman, what do you think of this?
I think it would be foolish. I think what we've been doing for so many years has been very foolish. I think that they ought to try to understand what blowback is all about and what the CIA has talked about and what Michael Schur has demonstrated so often in his work in the CIA. It's just way too much. It hurts us to no end. One of the points I made when I gave my last little talk on the House floor was that one of the trends and the problems that we're facing was violent anti-Americanism, and it's engulfing the world. And I think this is what's happening over there. You know, we have a mess in Egypt now. We don't know exactly what we're supposed to be doing in Syria. We end up supporting, and even Hillary had an expression of it. Well, how did we know the bad guys were going to get these things? And I think what's happening in Mali right now and these hostages is it's spun off from us getting involved in Libya and getting rid of Gaddafi. So one thing leads to another, and I just think that all these problems that we have makes my case very clear that we should have followed the founders' advice of staying out of the entangling alliances and staying out of the internal affairs of other nations, mind our own business, and save a dollar now and then because we're flat out broke.
Well, the argument you get back, as you know, Congressman, is that we'll regret that because we essentially give the bad guys free run. Now, the argument against what they were just claiming is that, well, terrorists are not idiots. They can pack up and leave. So if things get dicey for them in Afghanistan or Pakistan, apparently they move to Mali or Algeria or what have you. But they seem to be pretty good at movement. So I guess the bigger question is, should we do anything about that, or do we just let them brazenly grow unobstructed?
Well, what we have to decide is why we have the problem. If we come down on the side that it's spontaneous and they hate Americans, there's Al-Qaeda because they kill us and they don't like our prosperity and they don't like our freedoms, then you keep chasing them. But if the problem of these threats toward us and the disruption is because we're involved, then the answer is be less involved.
But what if it's a little more than that, Congressman? I know you and I have chatted about this before. What if they really do hate us? They hate everything we stand for, and they really are all about whatever our overtures to the Muslim community or lack thereof, that they're all about destroying us. They just can't stand us and want us dead.
Well, they might ask the same question, what if we didn't hate Muslims? I mean, we have to build up a lot of hatred for us to go 6,000 miles away and kill people with drones. And this is where the conflict is coming. We have to beat the drums of war and this hatred that we have to go over and do these things. And then all of a sudden, we have an epidemic of suicides of American soldiers that come back. What am I doing over here? Shooting these drone missiles and little kids dying and innocent people dying, and all of a sudden they come back and now more people die from suicide. Our soldiers are committing suicide. So I think it's a failed policy. It doesn't accomplish anything.
Right.
And if we don't understand that, as long as we don't want to look, we're either in denial or we don't understand it. But the CIA actually helps us on this to explain why there is retaliation. And if we don't accept that, this is going to get much worse. And there are predictions that right now that just because they haven't hit us here at home doesn't mean that they are starting to like us anymore. I think the problem is growing. It's going to get a lot worse as long as we think we're the king of the world.
Ron Paul, thank you very much, I think. All right, in the meantime, it is clear that we are dealing with a mobile enemy in Africa, which is making fighting them, if we choose to do